And the real point is, why do people make fun of Islam? Why do they make fun of it anyway? Why do they insult it? Why are these cartoons being made? Why is there so much propaganda and so much hate speech towards Muslims, even justified as journalism nowadays, masked as, editorial columns, pieces about, and the framing has become more and more interesting. So it used to be radical Islam, right? So they talked about radical Islam. And they talked about Islam that these fanatics believe in some crazy militant version of Islam where they just want to kill everyone and all this stuff. And they want to, put women in garbage bags and all this stuff. But later, further down the line, the definition of radical has loosened up to the point where if you pray 5 times, now you're pretty radical. So now, radical used to be really crazy, but now they're saying anything that, if you can show Islam, if you look even Muslim too much, if a woman's wearing a hijab, she must be a radical Muslim. If a guy's got a beard, he must be a radical Muslim. We don't have it that bad in the United States, but in Europe, it is pretty bad. And I've been to Europe, and I can tell you, it is pretty bad. It is pretty bad. It is seen as very radical. But the question is why? We have this mentality, the Muslims have developed this mindset, they're out to get us, man. These kuffar, man, they hate us. They keep making these cartoons against us. They keep doing this propaganda against us. They hate everything about Islam. They're coming after this, that, the other. They. We don't have any time to look in the mirror. The prophets, I told you, alayhim salatu wasalam, were also made fun of. I told you that. The Sahaba were also made fun of. وَيَسْخَرُونَ مِنَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. It's in the Quran. They make fun of those who believed. The kuffar made fun of those who believed. It's in the Quran. But the fundamental question is, why were they made fun of? And why are we being made fun of? Is it the same thing? And I argue it is not. Those people were made fun of because that was one of the ways to shut down the work of Islam. One of the ways to stop Islam from spreading, because they didn't know what else to do. Islam was so thought-provoking. Islam was so eye-opening. Islam called for justice. It questioned injustices happening in that society. And people were gravitating, young people, old people were gravitating towards Islam. And they didn't know how to stop it. So they came out with the tactic of calling the messenger a liar, and that didn't work. Alayhi salatu wassalam. Maybe we can mock these people and just laugh them off so nobody thinks they're a big deal. That was one of their tactics. And when that didn't work, they resorted to other tactics. All of these tactics were there to stop Islam from spreading because it was too powerful. I don't argue that's the case with us. I argue the ridicule is being made of Islam because of how Muslims appear. What Muslims have become. How we carry ourselves. What our societies look like. What our streets look like in our neighborhoods. What our homes look like. What our businesses practice are like. What our governments are like. If you want to look at examples of corruption, if you want to look at the exact opposite of a civilized society, travel to the Muslim world. Much of it. Hard for us to even be civilized in the parking lot of a masjid, for God's sake. The only time we're organized is when we have to be organized in sufuf, when salat is called. But outside of that, forget about it. Forget it. The worst kinds of just basic human decency we don't possess. We don't possess it. What is Muslim civilization? We love quoting our history. We love quoting when the Muslims were at the forefront of invention, when they were leading the universities of the world, when they were, people would come from all over the world to study ilm in Baghdad, and the Europeans had lost their literature and the Muslims had it, and they had to come to us to learn it. When Spain was a model for the world, we love quoting those things. What are you going to quote now? What have we done? What have we produced as a people? How have we contributed to the world? The only time we make it to the news is when we blow something up. Or when we're in some kind of chaos or another. Look at it from the outside perspective. These people are crazy. These people are crazy. As a matter of fact, I'm not even going to point the finger at the Muslim world, the rest of the Ummah. Let's talk about Western Muslims for a moment. We come to these societies, and I've dealt with the Muslim community in the United States for quite some time. I've had decent interaction with the Muslim community in England and in Australia. But let me tell you something. The things you see among the Muslims, subhanallah. I know Muslim business owners that'll lie on their taxes. Yeah, but I don't want to pay the kafir. Really, you don't want to pay the kafir. You're selling beer. That your Islam didn't show up then, but all of a sudden your wala and bara showed up when you had to pay your taxes. You know? These Muslims, today, us, not these, us, we have such low moral standards. Such low moral standards. You have Muslim business owners that don't pay decent wages. They don't pay decent wages. They don't even give their wife their mahr. They're complaining about injustices in the world. They don't even have justice inside their home. Inside their home. Why would somebody want to be attracted to Islam? The ayah that I want to share with you today is one of the scariest ayat in the Quran when it comes to this ummah. رَبَّنَا لَا تَجْعَلْنَا فِتْنَةً لِلَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Our Rabb, do not make us a fitna. Do not make us a tribulation for those who have disbelieved. In other words, one of the meanings of that ayah is, Ya Allah, don't make us so wretched and so embarrassing a people, so far from the actual beautiful teachings of Islam, that when non-Muslims see us, they say, why would I want anything to do with Islam? Why would I want to be Muslim? I want to be like these people? This is what I want to be like? They are not justified in them poking fun. But we're not justified when we refuse to look in the mirror. We're not justified. We have to start looking in the mirror. We have to fix this problem.